But of course, we begin with the stunning fallout from the extraordinary FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Sources tell CBS News that it's connected to White House records. And this comes after the National Archives asked the Justice Department to investigate Trump's handling of classified materials. Now, the former president slammed the entire operation, saying, quote, "These are dark times for our nation, as my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before." Well, CBS's Dan Lieberman is outside of Trump Tower following the latest on this for us. Dan, good morning. Well, he's right about one thing. Nothing like this has ever happened to a former president before.
That's right, Emery. Good morning. Well, behind me is Trump Tower, and we know that the former president was here yesterday when he got word that the FBI was investigating and on the premises at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Take a look.
Sources tell CBS News the FBI's Mar-a-Lago search is connected to a Justice Department investigation into how former President Trump handled White House records. The probe is looking into claims by the National Archives that it found 15 boxes of records at Trump's Florida estate earlier this year. Some of the material is said to have been classified. Trump issued a statement saying Mar-a-Lago was, quote, under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. And it said, after working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. In the statement, Trump also said agents broke into his safe.
What they need is probable cause that there was a federal crime that was committed and probable cause that the evidence of that crime is where they say it was, in this case at Mar-a-Lago.
A senior White House source says the Biden White House was given no advance notice of the search. Several investigations into the former president are known to be underway, while sources tell CBS the warrant has nothing to do with the January 6th committee.
In February, the National Archives had requested that the Justice Department investigate Trump because he didn't hand over these confidential documents. So that's when they started to investigate and look further, and that led up to this raid yesterday. Trump is calling it a raid. Others are saying it was just a search. But that's what happened, Anne-Marie.
So we know exactly how the former president feels about this because he released a statement. I saw some of his supporters gathering outside of Mar-a-Lago. But what about some of his other supporters in politics? Have we heard from any of them about this search?
Well, it's been slow, Anne-Marie, to come out, but we did hear from House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who said that if the Republicans do take the House again in the midterm elections in November, they're going to investigate the Justice Department's actions here. They see it as an overreach, and they're telling the head of the FBI, they're telling the Justice Department that they better get ready, clear their calendars for an investigation.
All right. Dan Lieberman, thank you very much, just outside of Trump Tower. The former president released a statement on the search, comparing it to the Watergate break-in. CBS's Major Garrett breaks down the details.
This is without precedent in American history. The former president of the United States now subject to a search of his primary residence by the FBI. According to multiple sources, the FBI searched for documents related to the Presidential Records Act, a law that requires official records from the presidency to be saved in the National Archives. Failure to comply is potentially a violation of federal law. We do not know which records, if any, the FBI found in the search or if they were classified. Trump was not at Mar-a-Lago at the time of the FBI raid, but confirmed it in a statement. In that statement, Trump said, quote, "A large group of FBI agents," unquote, came to his Mar-a-Lago home. Trump also said in that statement, quote, "They broke into my safe," unquote. To be clear, this is an FBI raid under powers granted to it by a federal judge. Trump is also under investigation for numerous actions undertaken to overturn the 2020 presidential election and events leading up to the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, days before Trump left the White House after losing the election to President Joe Biden. In recent weeks, Attorney General Merrick Garland has said repeatedly and emphatically that Trump would not be immune from investigation or prosecution if evidence of a crime warranted.